listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 347. We're continuing in the book of Esther. Sometimes I get confused between Mordecai and Haman because, to me, Mordecai sounds like the bad guy. But if I think of his name as more like Mordecai, well, I'll always remember that's the good guy and Haman is the bad guy. And when we start off in chapter 6, Haman has his plan all set up. He's even built the gallows to hang Mordecai. But when he thinks everything's going to go to plan, King Xerxes of Persia wants to have a bedtime story. And during that time, he realizes that Haman planned to kill the king all along. Watch as this plot unravels and turns to Mordecai's favor. In fact, at one point, Haman is begging Esther for his very life. Will Esther give Haman mercy? Or perhaps turn the tables on him and make him the victim of his own death trap? And then we're also continuing in the book of Revelation. Chapter 4, things start to get a little crazy as Jesus opens the door to heaven. And John, our faithful narrator, walks through that door and gives us a glimpse of heaven. And if you thought heaven was just a bunch of clouds and people playing harps with tiny little wings on their back, well, then you haven't read the Bible, because the visions of heaven show quite a different story. The images are intense. You'll get to see not only the throne of God himself, but there are 24 other thrones and 24 elders sitting on those. God also has around him a lion, an ox, a human, and an eagle. They all have 6 wings and have eyes all over their bodies. I know that just made it really strange. And what are these creatures doing? Are they his personal bodyguards? Nope, more like a live band at God's disposal as they sing praises to the Lord all day and all night. Stay with us to find out more details. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. Esther chapter 6. Mordecai is honored. That same night, the king could not sleep, so he told his servant to bring the official book of records and read to him about the things that had happened during his reign. One part he read told about how Mordecai had stopped a plan to kill King Xerxes. 2 of the king's officers, Bigthana and Teresh, who guarded the king's doorway, were planning to kill him, but Mordecai heard what they had planned and told someone about it. The king asked,
"What honor and reward did Mordecai receive for this?"
The servants answered the king, "Nothing has been done for him." Now Haman had just entered the outer area of the king's palace. He had come to ask the king to hang Mordecai on the platform he had ordered to be built. The king said,
"Who is that outside the entrance?"
The servant said, "That is Haman standing out there." The king said,
"Tell him to come in."
When Haman came in, the king asked him,
"What should I do for a man I want to honor?"
Haman thought to himself,
He must be talking about me. Who else would the king want to honor?
So Haman answered the king,
This is what the king should do for the man he wants to honor. Have the servants bring a special robe the king has worn and a horse the king has ridden. On the horse's head should be a royal crown. Then put one of the king's most important officials in charge of the robe and the horse. This official should put the robe on the man the king wants to honor, and he should lead him on the horse through the city streets. As he leads him, let him announce, "This is what the king does for the man he wants to honor."
"Go quickly,"
the king commanded Haman.
"Get the robe and the horse, and do what you suggested. Don't leave anything out. Do it all for Mordecai, the Jew. He is sitting near the king's gate."
So Haman got the robe and the horse. He put the robe on Mordecai and led him on horseback through the city streets. Haman went ahead of Mordecai and shouted,
This is what the king does for the man he wants to honor.
After that, Mordecai went back to the palace entrance, but Haman hurried home, covering his face in shame. He told his wife Zeresh and all his friends what had happened. His wife and these friends who gave him advice said,
If it is true that Mordecai is a descendant of the Jews, you cannot win. This defeat was just the beginning. You will end up losing everything to him.
While they were still talking to Haman, the king's officers came to his house. They took Haman and rushed to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Esther chapter 7. Haman is hanged. So the king and Haman went to eat with Queen Esther. As they were drinking wine on the second day of the banquet, the king again asked Esther,
Now, Queen Esther, what is it you want? I will give it to you. Just tell me what it is, and it will be yours. Up to half my kingdom.
Queen Esther answered,
My king, if you are pleased with me and think it good to give me what I ask for, my wish is that you let me live and that you also let my people live. I ask this because someone has offered money for my people and me to be destroyed, to be killed and wiped out completely. If we had just been sold as slaves, I would have kept quiet and not bothered the king with such a small problem as that.
King Xerxes asked Queen Esther,
Who did this? Where is the person who dared to do such a thing?
Esther said,
Our enemy, the one who is working against us, is this evil man here, Haman.
Haman was filled with terror as he stood there before the king and queen. The king was very angry. He got up, left his wine, and went out into the palace garden. Haman could see that the king had already decided to kill him, so he stayed inside to beg Queen Esther for his life. He threw himself down on the couch where Esther was to beg for mercy. At that moment, the king came back into the room from the garden and saw Haman there on the couch by Esther. The king shouted,
Will this man attack the queen right in front of me in my own house?
As soon as the king had said this, his servants came in and covered Haman's face. Then Harbona, one of the king's personal servants, said, A platform 22 meters tall has been built near Haman's house. Haman had made it so that he could hang Mordecai on it. Mordecai is the man who saved your life by making known the plan to kill you, the king said.
Hang Haman there.
So they hanged Haman on the platform he had built for Mordecai. Then the king stopped being angry. Esther chapter 8. The king's order to help the Jews. That same day, King Xerxes gave Queen Esther everything that belonged to Haman, the enemy of the Jews. Esther told the king that Mordecai was her cousin. Then Mordecai was allowed to appear before the king. The king took off his royal ring that he had taken back from Haman, and he gave it to Mordecai. And Esther put Mordecai in charge of everything that Haman had owned. Then Esther spoke to the king again. She bowed down at the king's feet and began crying. She begged the king to cancel the evil plan Haman had made against the Jews. The king held out the gold scepter to Esther, so she got up and stood before him. As she said,
My king, if you are pleased with me, and if it pleases you to do something for me, I have a request. If you think it is the right thing to do, and if you are happy with me, please write a command that would stop the order Haman sent out. Haman the Agagite made a plan to destroy the Jews in all the king's territories, and he sent out orders for this to happen. It is too much for me to see these terrible things happen to my people. I cannot stand to see my family destroyed.
King Xerxes answered Queen Esther and Mordecai the Jew.
Because Haman was against the Jews, I have given his property to Esther, and my servants have already hanged him on the platform he built. Now, you can write with my authority whatever order you think will be helpful to the Jews. Seal it with the king's special ring. Keep in mind that an order written by the authority of the king and sealed with the king's ring cannot be cancelled.
So, on that same day, the 23rd day of the 3rd month, the month of Sivan, the king's secretaries were called. They wrote out all of Mordecai's orders to be sent to the Jews and to the regional rulers and the governors and leaders of the 127 territories. These territories reach from India to Ethiopia. The orders were written in all the different languages of the people and in the form of writing used in each territory. The orders were also sent to the Jews in their own language and form of writing. Mordecai wrote the orders with the authority of King Xerxes. Then he sealed the letters with the king's ring and sent them by messengers who rode fast horses, raised especially for the king. These orders from the king gave the Jews in every city the right to gather together to defend themselves. If an army of any nation or territory attacked them, they would have the right to kill and completely destroy that army, as well as their women and children, and they would have the right to take everything that belonged to their enemies. The day set for this to happen was the 13th of Adar, the 12th month. This authority was given to the Jews and all the territories belonging to King Xerxes. A copy of the letter with the king's orders was to be sent out and made law in every territory, and it was to be made known to all the people living in these territories. The king ordered this so that the Jews would be ready on that day to strike back against anyone who attacked them. As soon as the messengers received these orders from the king, they rode away swiftly on the special horses that had been raised for the king. And the king's orders were also made known as law in the palace area of Susa. When Mordecai left the palace, he was dressed like a king. He had on a royal blue and white robe, a large gold crown, and a purple outer robe made of fine linen. And the whole city was cheering and celebrating. It was an especially happy day for the Jews, a day for them to enjoy the great honor they had received. In every territory and city where the king's order was made known, there was joy and celebration among the Jews. It was like a holiday with parties and feasts everywhere, and many of the people from other groups decided to become Jews because now they were afraid of them. Revelation chapter 4. John sees heaven. Then I looked, and there before me was an open door in heaven. And I heard the same voice that spoke to me before. It was the voice that sounded like a trumpet. It said,
Come up here, and I will show you what must happen after this.
Immediately the Spirit took control of me, and there, in heaven, was a throne with someone sitting on it. The one sitting there was as beautiful as precious stones like jasper and carnelian. All around the throne was a rainbow with clear colors like an emerald. In a circle around the throne were 24 other thrones with 24 elders sitting on them. The elders were dressed in white, and they had gold crowns on their heads. Lightning flashes and noises of thunder came from the throne. Before the throne there were 7 lamps burning, which are the 7 spirits of God. Also before the throne there was something that looked like a sea of glass, as clear as crystal. In front of the throne and on each side of it there were 4 living beings. They had eyes all over them, in front and in back. The first living being was like a lion. The second was like a bull. The third had a face like a man. The fourth was like a flying eagle. Each of these 4 living beings had 6 wings. They were covered all over with eyes, inside and out. Day and night, they never stopped saying,
Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God all-powerful. He always was, he is, and he is coming.
These living beings were giving glory and honor and thanks to the one who sits on the throne, the one who lives forever and ever. And every time they did this, the 24 elders bowed down before the one who sits on the throne. They worshiped him who lives forever and ever. They put their crowns down before the throne and said, Our Lord and God, you are worthy to receive glory and honor and power. You made all things. Everything existed and was made because you wanted it. Psalm chapter 142. A Maskil of David, written when he was in the cave. A prayer. I cry out to the Lord. I beg the Lord to help me. I tell him my problems. I tell him about my troubles. I am ready to give up. But you, Lord, know the path I am on, and you know that my enemies have set a trap for me. I look around and I don't see anyone I know. I have no place to run. There was no one to save me. Lord, I cry out to you for help. You are my place of safety. You are all I need in life. Listen to my prayer. I am so weak. Save me from those who are chasing me. They are stronger than I am. Help me escape this trap so that I can praise your name. Then good people will celebrate with me because you took care of me. Thank you, everyone. That was day 347. Join us for day 348. We will finish and conclude the book of Esther. Just when you thought all the drama was over, there's a big season finale that involves a lot of killing. If you really wanted to do this right, you would need at least 500 extras on the set as sorry victims who get killed. But who kills them and who exactly got killed? You'll have to join us to find out. And we will continue in the book of Revelation. And in chapter 5, we begin to hear about the scroll of the Lord. This scroll has 7 seals on it. But this is not just a tour of heaven that John is on. This is in real time. So when this lamb comes along with 7 horns and 7 eyes and takes the scroll from God, all the heavens react to this moment. And thousands upon thousands of beings in heaven begin singing as if a mighty choir or a great concert has just begun. God seems to really love his music. We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.